Hello, I'm Ruben Sandoval, and this is my Lewis and Clark Expedition Project. Welcome to camp. I am very proud to call myself your leader on this very important expedition. My name is Meriwether Lewis. We have been commissioned by the great Thomas Jefferson to explore the Northwest Territory in order to observe a transcontinental route and in order to find natural resources. He also wants us to establish trade with the Native Americans and affirm sovereignty of the United States in the region. Okay, men, here is my right-hand man, William Clark. This is Seaman the dog. He will be accompanying us on the expedition. Another person who will be joining us is my longtime friend / slave. His name is York. You will need a basic skill set before you are able to depart. The things you will need to learn include how to march, using weapons, building forts, working together, and following my orders. Here's some background information. On March 9th, 1804, the Upper Louisiana Territory was given to the United States. It was believed that both Lewis and Clark were present for the ceremony. Then, a couple months later, on May 18th, 1804, the group left on the expedition. They traveled up the Missouri River, but it was not easy. They had to deal with the heat, injuries, insects, and harsh river. On August 20th, 1804, they lost a crew member to a bursted appendix. His name was Sergeant Floyd. In October of 1804, they reached the village of Mandan. The Mandan helped the crew greatly. They supplied the crew with food throughout the winter, and at their new home called Fort Mandan, they even helped them hunt buffalo in exchange for the Mandans' traded goods. While at the Mandan village, they recruited Charbonneau and his young pregnant wife, Sacagawea. Sacagawea probably felt a little lonely at times because she was the only woman, but she probably felt special too. Act 2. The team moved on, crossing the Great Plains and eventually arriving in the area where the Shoshone tribe lived. Sacagawea remembered a very familiar rock known as Beaverhead Rock. This helped the crew greatly because now they knew where the Shoshone were. While on the way there, Sacagawea got sick. They also encountered the Great Falls, so they had to walk the boats across. On the bright side, they came across a new species of animal known as the prairie dog. They sent the prairie dog back to show that they had been encountering things on their expedition. Their experience with the Teton Sioux. The Teton Sioux wanted one of the boats to pay a toll for moving further upriver. A fight almost outbursted, but a chief named Black Buffalo helped solve the fight. The Sioux felt like their expedition was invading their area, and they felt that they had the right to collect a toll. Sacagawea was very important to the expedition for many reasons. She knew some of the geography they passed through, so she was able to help with the navigation. She was also able to help interpret when they came across the Shoshone-speaking Indians. She also had a good idea of what could be eaten in the nature, and she was good at finding food. She helped the crew when she negotiated with the Shoshones for horses. She was also to keep the peace within the group if anything broke out. York. York was the only slave on the expedition. He was a childhood friend of Lewis, but now he was his slave. He was a big man, and even though it seemed that he was treated well, he probably always felt unequal. On the bright side, York got to experience what freedom felt like. He probably felt really special because he reminded the native people of a god. They were amazed by him. Act 3. The expedition led them to many new places. They went to the Rocky Mountains and were amazed by the beautiful scenery. They even discovered the grizzly bear on April 29, 1805. They wrote about it and how big it was and hard to kill. As the expedition came to an end, the crew could see the ocean. The expedition was now filled with harsh winds and rain. They ended up staying on the south side of the Columbian River because the weather was better and there were elk to hunt. Then the explorers moved on and built Fort Clatsop and stayed for the winter. Fort Clatsop was near the coast. Lewis and Clark accomplished a lot on their expedition. They did important work for science. They gathered and recorded information about our new country and its native people. On March 23rd, 1806, the return trip began.